Yeah, you're ready, huh? Mm. So I just wanted to make a video, even though it's informal. My hair looks crazy. I have no makeup on. I'm just playing with this little guy. But me and my husband have decided to start sleep training tonight. Jay will be 7 months in a few more days. So apparently what I've read was actually 6 months or 5 months, 5.5 is the magic marker. But we were away on vacation for like 3 weeks during that time, so it was just impossible to do it. So anyways, we're back home. He's back on track. He's sleeping. He goes to bed around 9, and he'll wake up about 2 a.m. for feeding, and then 5 a.m. for feeding, give or take 30 minutes. And then he's up for the day, I would say about 8 a.m. And his naps are great. Do help him to fall asleep for his naps. Recently, obviously, his nighttime we help him fall asleep, usually by rocking, sometimes nursing. So the goal is to just be able to put him down in his bed and say goodnight and close the door, and he just independently falls asleep, and hopefully that will reduce, I don't know, night wakings. I'm going to have to do night weaning later. So the information I found really helpful was from this website called Precious Little Sleep. I'll put a link down below. That's just kind of what it looks like. So she has a lot of, I feel like her answers are really clear, you know, for all the questions that you would have in regards to sleep training. We are going to do cry it out method. So I know there's some, they do the Ferber method or like modified Ferber, where you go in and you check in on the baby every so many minutes. Giving those minutes longer and longer. And we did that with Jay when he was 4.5 months old. We did the Ferber method to get him sleeping in his own crib for naps. Because at night he would sleep in his own bed. Obviously he would wake up to nurse throughout the night. But then his naps, he would refuse to sleep in a bassinet or a crib, and he had to sleep with us holding him. And it was just getting ridiculous because he was getting bigger and bigger, and then he was getting restless, and his naps for like 15-20 minutes, and we were having backache. But yeah, that worked really well. It took about a week. I think after the 3rd day, we would put him down in the crib, and he kind of got used to like, okay, I'm supposed to sleep in my crib. So that was a huge success. But now, he's 7 months old, and he can't put himself to sleep independently. So that becomes an issue when like we were on vacation, you know, and my mom and dad were around, and it's like you can't just put him down to sleep. You had to like go through this whole process, and then sometimes he was excited or whatever. It was just like, I can just tell he needs to learn how to put himself to sleep. Sometimes at night he wakes up and I can see in the monitor that he really just wants to go back to sleep. And he doesn't know how to do that because he's so dependent on us to either nurse or, you know, rock him to sleep basically. So yeah, we're gonna do cry out. I'm not really looking forward to it because I know the first night is the worst. I heard it can take up to like 1 hour of crying, and oh yeah, so we are not going to be doing the Ferber method this time. Ferber method worked with him when he was 4.5 months old because he was not mobile yet. So, and he was sucking his thumb to self-soothe. So when we put him in the crib, he wasn't moving around the crib. He was just laying there, and then he'd cry, and then he'd find his thumb, and he'd suck it, and then he'd fall asleep. So he could put himself to sleep, and that was fine. But now he's crawling. I mean, look what he's doing right now. You know, he's crawling. He's starting to fold himself up on things. He's desperate to start walking soon. You know, he's scooting around a lot. So we can't just put him in the crib and he'll just lay there and cry until he falls asleep. We'll put him in the crib and he's like all over the crib. So going in and trying to like pat him and shush him, you know, he's not just going to be laying there and then it's like ding ding ding, okay, sleep. It's going to be, he's all over the place. So I think we just have to do a good solid bedtime routine, put him in there, close the door, and just say good night. And it's going to take a few nights, but he will figure out, oh, okay, this is the new sleeping arrangement, and when mommy and daddy close the door, it's bedtime. I have to go to sleep myself. So that's all scientific, and biological factors help them go to sleep at night. My only concerns for tonight are, I know he's going to cry, and I know he's going to get, probably he will get hysterical at one point, because he's done that before. He did that when we were nap training him, sleep in his own crib. He got hysterical the first day. So after, I think about 45 minutes, after 1 hour, I picked him up and just held him and nursed him until he calmed down, and then he fell asleep. And then I stuck him in the crib. And then each time after that, it got less and less and less. But now I don't think that will be good to do, because what they say now, being 7 months old, he's aware of your surroundings. He's aware that even though mom leaves the room, she still exists. So they have object permanence, and he knows, like, hey, mom and dad are somewhere out there. If I keep crying, they're going to come back in and pick me up. So I don't want to drag this out any longer than it possibly has to go. So yeah, we're going to do cry it out, and we're going to try extinction method. They said that you can try Ferber first, go in there at certain times and try and console them, but if it seems to be making the baby worse or more hysterical, then you can drop that and go straight to extinction. But they say don't work the other way. Don't try extinction and then say, okay, well, now we're going to do time and we're going to console them, which I don't think, if you start over the next night, obviously it's going to make it hard, because however long you wait and let them cry and then pick them up, they've learned, like, oh, okay, this is mom and dad's limit. I can cry this long and they will get me. So unless he gets stuck, like his hand gets stuck through the bars, or something is really wrong where we need to go in and get him, we're going to try extinction, where we're just going to let him do his thing. And we have a very smart baby. He's incredibly smart. He's like doing all these skills now, so I have confidence in him that he can also master sleeping independently. I feel like sometimes we get in his way when he just needs to be coached along to sleep in your own bed by yourself, to fall asleep. Yeah, he does sleep in his own bed, but to fall asleep by himself is what the goal is. So we're gonna give it 4 nights. So they say the first night will be the worst, up to an hour of crying. Second night, it should be 20 minutes, then 10 minutes, or around there. And hopefully by the 4th night, there's no more crying. We'll see. So another thing that they recommended was maybe, like, you have like a lovey like this, where it's just a small, soft blanket, and then mom either sleeps with it, or all day long she just keeps it tucked in her shirt so that it smells like mom, and you can give that to him for comfort. But no pacifiers, don't nurse to sleep, anything that you were trying to break him of, you don't want. So I think we're gonna try this.
You take this? Okay. Thank you. Good night. I'm gonna go to sleep now, okay? Gotta go to sleep now. Okay. I love you. See you in the morning, okay? Good night. I love you. Good night. Oh, good night.
Good night, baby.
I just wanted to say that, sorry about the lighting, it's terrible, but I just wanted to make this real life. It's about 10:30. We put the little bean down, and he cried for 45 minutes, and then he was out, and now he's just sleeping. So I thought it might have taken an hour. My husband even asked me, he says, what if it takes longer than an hour? And the thought did occur to me, oh my goodness, it could take longer than an hour. So I think we were both shocked. At 45 minutes, it was just dead silent. And there was no like graduated, like he wasn't crying and went down and down and down and down and then nothing. It was like crying. Okay, we put him down, and like within the minute of turning off the light and closing the door, he knew what was going on. Or he was just like, hey, I want to party, I want to play, you know, what's mom and dad doing? And we cry and they don't get me, you know. So he started crying within a minute. And he cried, and I was just doing the dishes and loading up the laundry. And I was just keeping myself busy pretty much, which I think helped a lot. And then checking the monitor periodically to make sure that, you know, he was okay. And he was just crawling around his crib crying, basically. And then around the 30-minute mark, his crying escalated. So before he was crying, but I couldn't hear him, like if I came in my room. You know, almost like got really quiet and listened, then I could hear him. But at the 30-minute mark, I could definitely hear him from my room. And so the crying escalated, and then it stayed like that. And then all of a sudden, at 45 minutes, me and my husband were like, wait a second, is it silent? Like, let's go over there. So we thought maybe he just got quieter, and we went and listened at the door, and there was just like nothing there. So unfortunately, the monitor that we have during that last time between 30 minutes and the 45-minute mark went offline. I don't know why. It just went offline. So we couldn't even like check back on the monitor to see like what was his transition from escalated crying to suddenly he was just knocked out, you know. And then about 20 minutes later, the monitor got back online again. And so, of course, it was nice to look at the monitor and see, like, oh, he's safely just sleeping. He was at the corner of the crib. It looks like he had his little lovey that I gave him, and he had, like, dragged it around with him throughout the crib, which is interesting because I wasn't sure what he would do with that, like, if he would play with it, or if he would just toss it to one side and say, I don't need this, where's mom and dad, or what he would do. But you'll see in the picture, he's kind of like got it on his side. So I don't think he's actually holding on to it, but maybe that's the last thing he used. I really wanted to see what he'd used to actually soothe himself. So anyways, I'm relieved and I'm about to go to sleep. I had a little shot, some chocolate. I honestly could not do anything relaxing while he was crying because, you know, I thought, oh, I'm going to have my little drink and some chocolate, I'm going to watch a movie, you know, and wait it out. And I just was on the edge the whole time, just because you're nervous. It's like when you do something for the first time, you doubt yourself. I was doubting myself the whole time he was crying. I'm like, maybe you put him down too late, he's overtired. Maybe you didn't put him down soon enough. Maybe you did it wrong, the way you put him down. You know, you just doubt yourself because I think you just want them to magically fall asleep at 10 minutes. And some people have babies that do that, and that's awesome. And even they are doubting themselves, like, did that really work? Is he going to wake up? And I'm still in my head thinking, you know, any moment maybe he's going to wake up and start crying again, but I don't know. But my plan now is to not go in there until his normal feeding time, which normally he's safe and sound. It took him 45 minutes. We did not go back in at all, not even to do one check, while my husband went in to do a check on the monitor. But it stopped working. But he did that as quietly as possible. He didn't turn on any light. He like opened the door and he was literally crawling on the floor so that the baby wouldn't see him. And I was like, please don't let him hear you. Don't let him hear the door open. But I don't think he was affected by that at all because it didn't sound like his crying escalated or, it just stayed constant. So we had all the lights off and the house turned off. That's another thing that I don't know if that helps, but instead of having lights and noise on, we just
all the lights off, and we try to be as quiet as possible because for my son, he wants to be where the action is and he wants to play. And if he knows people are outside and then put it out there, that makes him upset. So out of respect for him, I just make sure everything is really dark and really quiet so that he doesn't feel like I'm missing out on something, because I know my baby's personality and that is exactly what he would do. Supposed to be calming down, but he seems to be more excited. Are you more excited after your bath? They say baths are supposed to relax them, but he always seems to get very excited after his bath. Don't you? Yeah. Let's go dry your hair. Couch. Good night, Daddy. Good night.
So for us, doing the sleep training with our son, CIO-extinction, has totally paid off. Instead of him waking up several times during the night and me going in there nursing him back to sleep, or putting him down, to bed and then wondering, oh, is he going to wake up in an hour or in a couple hours, never really knowing. Now we can put him down for bed, and I know I can count on him to sleep at least 4 or 5 hour stretches. And now he is starting to kind of wean himself off of night feedings. So whereas before he was drinking maybe 3 times, now he drinks maybe twice, but in this past week he's only nursed once during the night. And so it's definitely working. He can put himself back to sleep instead of us having to help him. So we're getting more sleep too. So I'd highly recommend it. I know it might not be easy for you in the beginning, but as you see the progress and like how it's actually working, you will feel really good about it and know that it's good for your baby and for your family. Please hit the like and subscribe for more videos to come, and we will see you again.